Welcome to another Wavix video where I talk about another fucking stupid CBF drama. It's been like 2 or 3 months since I've actually cared about any of the CBF related drama in this game, but the discourse around this drama specifically has been exceptionally stupid, and shitposts aside, I do have some points I think people are overlooking. Right before we get into it, if you're tired of the CBF drama, then feel free to like and subscribe because honestly at this point I will probably not talk about any of it anymore, at least until grief gets verified because that'll be an absolute disaster. Also, this video is sponsored by the Don't Be a Dick in the Comments Section Foundation that I just made up as of like 2 seconds ago. This video's not scripted, to tell you to not be an asshole in the comments. So for anyone who doesn't spend their precious valuable free time on Elon Musk's JQ posting platform, let me break it down for you, Mark. The Clicks Between Frames mod, otherwise known as the CBF mod, modifies your game to make it so that your clicks or inputs are actually more accurate. There's other similar mods like the click on steps thing, but nobody cares about those, don't worry about it. I will be calling it the CBF mod for the rest of this video because God fucking help me if I have to say clicks between frames mod every time I mention it. A lot of people really like using this mod because it means that even with a very low refresh rate like 60 Hz, you are still able to beat very difficult levels, and like 90% of people that have access to it usually end up using it. I personally don't care if you use it or not, it's really up to personal preference, but if RobTop were to add it into the game as it is right now, this mod would now become part of the game and thus would no longer really be cheating. I'm not going to get into the debate on whether or not CBF as a mod right now is cheating because it kind of is, and like nobody cares. It's allowed on the demon list, by the way, so it's like a gray area at this point. And fun fact, whether this mod are cheating or not doesn't have to do with the specific topic of this video. So remember, CBF is only cheating because it's not part of the actual game and not everybody has full access to it, iOS users, etc. RobTop did say that he might have his own version of clicks between frames. You might ask why he wouldn't just implement the normal version of the mod into the game so that everybody is happy, but either A, there's some esoteric reasons that he's just not telling us about, which is a really weird decision on his part, or B, bro doesn't know how to make it and refuses to let anyone touch his precious code, which of course has been notorious for working out in the past. Now listen, personally, I think people are free to use CBF, I really do not care. If it makes the game more enjoyable for you, good for you. I kinda stopped caring, I had other things to worry about. That is until Nullscapes was verified with a CBF blocker actually implemented into the level. If you don't know what that means, well then, let me break it down for you, Mark. Kiba, the creator of Nullscapes, added some triggers that make it so that if you are using the Clicks Between Frames mod while playing the level, this message pops up and then you die. So this obviously pissed a lot of people off. Now here's the thing, okay? I've seen a lot of people defending Kiba and saying that obviously he should be allowed to do whatever he wants with his own level, which I do agree with and we'll get into that more later. This message is unnecessarily hostile for like zero reason. And I think the choice to make this message deliberately hostile and condescending says a lot more about Kiba than it does about the state of this controversy. But I mean, he did say please, so could be worse, I guess. So a lot of the discourse around this decision has been very much just people either saying that A, it's Kiba's choice to add this into the level and that why are you crying about it, this is cheating anyways, or people saying B, basically all top players use CBF because it makes the game more enjoyable, you're just handicapping your level for no reason. RobTop is only really taking action against people who verify levels with CBF anyways, and the demon list allows it. And technically everybody arguing this is correct, but they keep using it as like a gotcha and like the final end-all be-all of this conversation. And so I want to explain why I think the conversation is a bit more complicated than that. First off, I want to say, at least in my opinion, that I think it is perfectly within the right of a creator to include stuff like a CBF blocker into their levels. Like, yeah, it is the creator's decision, but that doesn't mean I don't think it's a stupid-ass decision. Freedom of speech does not equal freedom of consequence, my dude. You are absolutely free to put CBF blockers in your level or put edgy art in your level like Devin 2003, but the community is also free to respond to it how they wish to. Therefore, I think invoking the argument that, well, it's just the creator's decision, it's not a big deal, doesn't actually make any sense. It's not incorrect, it's just incomplete. So why exactly do I think that adding a CBF blocker to your level doesn't make any sense, slash why this was a bad decision for Nullscapes? First off, I think it actually really hurts the level in the long game, even if you don't want people using CBF in your level. With the fact that it was obviously going to start drama, which I think Kiba knew, aside, it's already pretty easy for people to just simply cheese, or get around the CBF blocker already. And if not, they can simply just make a copy of the level and remove the triggers. The verdict would still be out on whether the demon list would accept this as a legitimate form of beating the level, but if they do, then nobody's going to care. And at the end of the day, you've accomplished nothing, and it could interfere with what RobTop is planning to add with his own version of the Clicks Between Frames mod. So if RobTop adds his own version of Clicks Between Frames that isn't as effective as the original version, or he just adds the original version of the Clicks Between Frames mod into the game, congratulations, you have to find someone to re-verify this level. I mean, I'm sure Pop-Up could do it in like 2 days, but it still is an unnecessary headache. Second off, remember, the demon list already allows CBF, and RobTop has only said that he will unrate levels based on if their verification was done with the use of the Clicks Between Frames mod. So the only real upside to adding a CBF blocker is that people who are using the mod will just have to copy the level and get rid of the trigger, or if the demon list doesn't like that, just decide to not play your level. And like, I guess on the off chance that RobTop notices any of this drama, he might like that a little bit, but I mean, this level was going to get rated regardless. On top of this not really having any benefit to the creator or the players of the level or anyone really, it's actively making this community much more polarized on Clicks Between Frames. Now people are just mad about yet another thing. Again, of course it is the creator's decision, but the effects of the decision escape its intentions. Unless the intention originally was to cause drama, which honestly, based on the creator's attitude on Twitter, probably was the intention. There actually is another top 20 with a CBF blocker in it, and I think there's 2 reasons for why it didn't cause nearly as much drama. One, the project wasn't verified by Zoink, so it didn't attract the attention of a bunch of 5-year-olds. Oh yeah, and also the people who were involved were not being assholes on Twitter. That does tend to make a difference in these kinds of situations. It also seems that Nepesta could not resist the urge to keep smoking the creator over this, stating, quote, 99% of top players like and use CBF, but so many of you think it should be banned. How strange, it's almost like your hatred of it is entirely performative and based on wanting to feel superior rather than any actual logical conclusions. Now, I don't know how much this is true of the creator of Nullscapes, and originally I thought he was kind of reaching with this one, but then I read the replies and I was like, okay, he kinda has a point. Listen, if you're watching this video as a very anti-CBF person and someone who is really defending Kiva right now, and have made it this far into the video without just like disliking, leaving a stupid comment and then leaving, and wouldn't care if CBF mod was in the base game anyways, I don't really have anything against you. But I do take issue with people who start insulting others who have a different opinion on this issue than them, while also knowing jack shit about how this thing actually works. I just saw someone say that CBF is cheating, which to be fair it is, and then decided that that justifies literally any action that puts down players who use the Clicks Between Frames mod, with literally zero nuance or critical thinking. Despite the fact that I would make racks off of it, I don't actually want Geometry Dash drama to turn into fucking American politics. We're arguing over what to do with Geometry Dash levels and a controversial mod, not over different ideologies on how the world should be run. If people are using CBF to play the game because it makes them enjoy it more, unless it's a verification of an otherwise rate-worthy level, it's not a big deal. Let people play the fucking game. If people want to add CBF blockers to their level for some reason, even though you might think that that is a stupid decision with literally zero benefit, either don't play the level or make your own copy of it. That doesn't to say I'm an enlightened centrist on this issue. I still think that in this specific controversy with Nullscapes, Kiva's been unnecessarily hostile to begin with. And while I do also understand that at the end of the day it is just a game, I also understand that for a lot of people this game is their life because they are either 5 years old or literally never go outside, so obviously they're going to be pretty passionate about this. Editor Me here. Genuinely, a lot of the responses to my community posts were pretty good, and a lot of you raised the valid point of even if you don't like people using the Clicks Between Frames mod and disagree with people using it, it's still a pretty shitty move to actively block people from using it and do it in a way that just fires up Twitter. Overall, the message of this video is just, the blockers cause unnecessary drama. If you really want to play the level anyways, just make your own copy of it. And in conclusion, in the wise words of the great Djjaner, voting for Kamala Harris because she a bad bitch.
I just love my dog. Yeah. Think of my brother told me how to taste the bag. Get right.